Japan is disappearing. Not from war, not from disease, not from anything you can point to on a map. It's disappearing because its people have quietly, collectively, decided to stop having children. Last year, fewer births than any point in Japan's recorded history. 670,000 babies. In a country of 123 million. And here's what should genuinely unsettle you. That number arrived nearly 2 decades earlier than the government's own worst-case projections. The people whose entire job was to predict this crisis got it wrong. By 20 years. So, what is actually going on? The easy answer is low birth rates, aging population, people not marrying. But that's the headline. The real story is stranger, more human, and far more relevant to your life than you think. Because Japan isn't an outlier. Japan is a mirror. The first country to go through what every major economy is quietly heading toward. And the choices its young people are making right now, in Tokyo apartments, in dying villages, in art schools and corporate offices, are a preview of what happens when an entire generation looks at the life they were promised and says, "No thank you." Today we're going inside all of it. And by the end, you won't just understand Japan. You'll understand something about where all of us are headed. Let me make these numbers feel real. Not textbook real, actually real. Japan's population peaked in 2010 at 128.5 million. Today, 123.4 million. 5 million people, not emigrated, just not replaced. And the pace is accelerating. Japan loses 900,000 people every single year to natural decline. Every year, a city the size of Austin, Texas, erased from the demographic map. Japan's fertility rate, the average number of children a woman will have, has hit 1.12. You need 2.1 for a stable population. Japan is at half that, falling for 9 consecutive years. Only 10.9% of Japan's population is under 14. Meanwhile, 30% is over 65. An upside-down pyramid, a shrinking base of young people carrying an enormous elderly population. The median age in Japan is nearly 50. The US is 39. China is 40. Japan is a decade older than either, the oldest major nation on Earth. But this isn't just Japan. South Korea's fertility rate is 0.72. China's population has fallen 3 consecutive years. Italy, Germany, Spain, same cliff edge. Japan just got there first. Japan has spent decades trying to fix this. Cash incentives, government campaigns, subsidies. None of it worked. Which tells you something the numbers alone can't explain. This isn't a policy failure. It's a cultural signal. And to understand that signal, we need to go inside the lives of young Japan. Imagine you're 24 in Tokyo. 200 square foot apartment, 60% of your salary on rent, 90-minute commute each way. Working inside a system designed in the 1950s, built on one promise: give your life to a company and it will take care of you. That deal broke in the 1990s. Nobody replaced it. So you're supposed to find a partner, get married, buy a home, have 2 children, inside a system built for a world that no longer exists. A growing number of young Japanese people are looking at that list and saying, "I don't have the bandwidth." But it's deeper than money. University of Tokyo researchers found the people most likely to opt out of relationships weren't thriving. They were the ones with lower incomes making a quiet internal calculation. It's less painful to never try than to try and publicly fail. That's not apathy, that's self-protection. And from that self-protection, an entire identity emerged. Meet the Soshoku-kei, herbivore men, gentle, unambitious in love, uninterested in competitive dating. By 2010, up to 75% of single men in their 20s and 30s identified with this label. There's a concept in Japanese culture, kuki o yomu, reading the room, adjusting yourself to preserve harmony. Don't push, don't confront, don't be too much. Apply that to dating, and the entire pursuit of intimacy starts to feel like too much exposure.
For women, the pressure runs the opposite direction. Have children, build a career, keep the household, do everything, sacrifice nothing. So more and more of them are choosing nothing at all. If the system made love this expensive, whose failure is this really? Here's something counterintuitive. Japan's young people, opting out of relationships, cramped into tiny apartments, are quietly becoming the most economically powerful generation Japan has seen in decades. Not because they got rich, because there are so few of them. For decades, Japan ran on deflation. Falling prices reward people with accumulated wealth, savings, property, investments. Economists call this stock. The elderly had almost all of it. Young people had flow, their labor, their salaries. Under deflation, flow barely mattered. This created Japan's silver democracy. Elderly interests dominated every policy conversation. Pensions protected, housing, childcare, job security for the young got the leftovers. For decades, young Japanese were essentially subsidizing their grandparents' comfort. But something shifted. Japan now has real inflation for the first time in a generation. Inflation erodes static assets. The pension that looked comfortable a decade ago buys noticeably less. The silver democracy is quietly melting. Therefore, flow is becoming precious. So few young workers remain that companies are competing for them, wages rising at a 34-year high. In construction, 5.6 job openings per applicant. Healthcare, 4.2. The generation supposed to be most marginalized is becoming the generation the economy cannot function without. But the same shortage is killing thousands of small businesses, the family restaurants, the neighborhood shops, that can't compete for this newly expensive workforce. What's lost isn't captured in any spreadsheet. It's community, identity, the fabric of daily Japanese life. Nowhere is that loss more visible than in what's happening to the Japanese countryside. There is a village in Tokushima Prefecture where the population has fallen by more than half since the 1950s. The school is still there. The desks are still there. No children sit at them. The playground rusts in a yard nobody uses. Post office, closed. Clinic, gone. The people who remain, mostly in their 70s and 80s, wake up every morning in a community running on borrowed time. This isn't isolated. This is hundreds of Japanese communities, simultaneously. Japan calls them Genkai Shuraku, marginal villages. Communities where over 50% of residents are over 65, where festivals that gave a place its identity are being canceled. Not from indifference, but because there aren't enough people left to hold them. But here's where it turns surreal. Japan currently has 9 million vacant homes, akiya, empty houses. Not abandoned shacks. Many are perfectly intact, furniture still inside, gardens once lovingly tended. 13.8% of Japan's entire housing stock sitting empty. And that number is about to surge as the post-war baby boomer generation passes away and their children, long settled in Tokyo, inherit homes they'll never return to. Therefore, an unlikely opportunity is quietly opening. Young urban Japanese are buying akiya for a few $1,000s, renovating them, building communities in places the previous generation abandoned. Some villages are offering free land, free housing. Just come, just stay. It is simultaneously the most heartbreaking and most quietly hopeful story in modern Japan. Every government facing demographic crisis reaches for the same three levers. Make more babies, import more people, build machines to replace the ones you don't have. Japan has tried all three. Results? Complicated. Making more babies. Japan has run pro-natalist campaigns for decades. Cash payments,
subsidies, government matchmaking apps. The fertility rate fell every single year regardless. You cannot campaign your way out of a structural collapse in the conditions that make family life possible. Therefore, the government shifted strategy. Less, please have babies. More, how do we keep the economy running anyway? Which means machines. Japan's robotics giants are seeing record orders, but the most remarkable innovation isn't physical robots. It's AI, preserving something far more fragile. Japan's manufacturing legacy was built on Takumi, master craftsmen whose decades of instinct couldn't be written down. That knowledge lived in their hands, and those masters are retiring fast. So Japanese companies are now using AI to watch them work, capturing every micro decision and coding it for junior workers. Extraordinary technology solving a deeply human problem. But automation alone cannot fill the demographic gap, which forces Japan toward immigration, historically its most politically explosive conversation. Foreign residents hit 3.9 million in 2024. The government is simultaneously expanding worker visas and tightening citizenship requirements and doubling deportations. One door opening, another quietly narrowing. The real question nobody wants to answer: is Japan ready to become a genuinely multi-ethnic society? Let me ask you something. Falling birth rates, young people opting out of relationships, rural communities hollowing out, an economy scrambling for workers. Does any of that sound familiar? Not because you've studied Japan, because you've been watching it happen in slower motion everywhere else. South Korea's fertility rate, 0.72. They've spent hundreds of billions on pro-natalist programs. The rate fell every year anyway. China spent decades enforcing a one-child policy. It worked too well. Even after removing all limits, couples didn't change. Population now falling 3 consecutive years. A country that spent a generation telling people to have fewer children is now desperately begging them to have more. Nobody is listening. Italy, the Japan of Europe. Fertility at 1.20. Pope Francis has publicly urged Italians to choose children over pets. They've responded with polite indifference. The United States. Fertility at 1.6, propped up historically by immigration. That valve is now the most politically volatile issue in the country. America still has time. Japan had time once too. Here's the deepest insight buried in all of this. The countries watching Japan most carefully aren't doing so because they think they're different. They're watching because they know they're next. We started with a country disappearing. I want to end with a different frame. Meet Mizuki, 24, art student in Tokyo. Works in a donut shop to cover rent. She almost never sees people her own age anymore, just grandmas and grandpas. She carries the weight of expectation to have children, to contribute, to participate in a system built before she arrived. But she's still here, still creating, building a life on her own terms inside the wreckage of a social contract she never signed. Meet Nafan, 24, Indonesian designer in Tokyo. He calls the city a Barbie world, safe, beautiful, but inward-looking. Still running paper-based systems in a digital age. He sees both the wonder and the walls with a clarity only an outsider can. Meet Shun, 22, new hire at an insurance firm. Sees the rigid corporate structure not as a trap, but as a scaffold to build something real from. 3 people, same city, same inherited crisis. None of them waiting to be saved. The post-growth society isn't coming, it's already here. And what's emerging isn't collapse, it's adaptation. Imperfect, improvised, occasionally beautiful. Young people buying Akia for thousands of dollars. Youth voter turnout hitting 56%. A generation written off as apathetic, showing up and changing the outcome. Japan's disappearing youth are not a lost generation. They are the first generation living honestly inside a reality every other wealthy nation is still pretending isn't coming. Japan is not disappearing. It is becoming something the world has never seen before. And whether that's a warning or a blueprint depends entirely on what the rest of us decide to do while we still have time to choose.
There's a story in every corner, and we're just getting started. If you love discovering the unexpected, hit that subscribe button to join the Meridian Noir community. Don't miss a single corner. Smash that like button if you found this helpful. We'll see you everywhere.